The video opens with a quiet, almost eerie tone, as if reality itself is holding a secret. The narrator begins by asking a simple but powerful question. What if everything you see, everything you feel, and everything you think is not exactly what it seems? The camera slowly moves over ordinary objects, a cup of coffee, a street, a person walking, while the narrator whispers that these things may not exist the way we believe. Viewers are introduced to the idea that the human brain might not just perceive reality, it might be creating it. Like a projector casting an image on a screen, the brain could be forming a holographic version of the world, a perfect illusion that feels solid, real, and unquestionable. The narrator shows a few quick, simple examples. The way a mirage appears on a hot road, how a reflection in a mirror can trick the mind, or how a virtual reality headset can make someone feel like they are truly somewhere else. The point is clear. Reality is not always what we think it is. The narrator shifts the focus to the mind itself. Inside your skull, billions of neurons fire every second, sending signals, interpreting signals, and constructing a world you believe is real. Viewers are invited to imagine the brain as a control room, full of lights, levers, and screens, constantly building a version of the universe that seems complete, yet it may be only a shadow of something far deeper, something beyond ordinary perception, something almost magical. A moment of suspense is added as the narrator asks, have you ever dreamed something so real that when you woke, you questioned if it was actually happening? The audience is encouraged to recall their own dreams, illusions, or moments when reality felt uncertain. These small experiences hint at a larger possibility. The world around us may be a kind of holographic projection, and our brains may be the lens that turns invisible information into visible experience. The video then introduces the first glimpse of scientific wonder, but in a way that feels mysterious rather than technical. Physicists have discovered strange behaviors in the universe that suggest reality is not as solid as it seems. The narrator mentions quantum experiments, where particles act in ways that defy common sense, where observation seems to affect outcome. Without giving complex formulas or jargon, this adds intrigue and makes viewers wonder if their own eyes, their own senses, can be trusted. To deepen curiosity, the narrator brings in a simple analogy. Imagine a hologram, a three-dimensional image created from light, not a flat picture, but a full, rich illusion, where even if you touch it, it seems to have depth, texture, and presence. What if your brain is doing something similar with the world? The narrator asks, creating a living, breathing hologram that you call reality. This suggestion is unsettling and fascinating, encouraging viewers to lean in closer, wanting to understand. The suspense grows as the narrator hints at the journey ahead. In the next few minutes, you will see evidence, stories, and ideas that will make you question everything you thought you knew. The ordinary becomes extraordinary as the video promises to reveal secrets of the mind, consciousness, and the universe. The narrator concludes the hook with a soft, dramatic invitation. By the end of this video, you may never look at the world in the same way again, leaving viewers on the edge, their curiosity fully captured, ready to dive deeper into the mysterious idea that the brain itself might be a hologram. The video moves from the suspenseful mystery of the hook into a more focused exploration. The narrator begins gently. Now that we have asked if reality itself could be a kind of illusion, let's look at how the brain might actually create that illusion. Viewers are reminded that the brain is not just a receiver of information, but an active interpreter, constantly shaping what we experience. To explain the concept clearly, the narrator introduces a familiar object, a hologram. A hologram is a three-dimensional image made from light, using simple visuals. The video shows a holographic card or projection, pointing out how the image appears solid and real. Even though it is made entirely from patterns of light, you can walk around it, see it from different angles, and yet touch it. It feels different than it looks. The narrator asks the audience to imagine if their own mind works in a similar way, constructing reality from invisible signals. The brain is then compared to a projector, but in a way everyone can understand. Think of your brain as a movie theater. The narrator says, it takes raw signals from your senses, light, sound, touch, and turns them into the movie you call your life. Every color, shape, and sound is built inside the brain, and yet it feels external and real. You are watching a film, but the projector is inside your head. This idea feels strange, and magical, yet simple enough for anyone to grasp. Next, the narrator gives everyday examples to make the holographic concept tangible. When you close your eyes and imagine a face, a place, or a story, your mind can create images so vivid you can almost feel them, then they expand it. Now, imagine that the world you see with your eyes is being created in a similar way, by signals the brain interprets from the universe. It's a small leap, but the visual and mental connection makes the audience feel the possibility. The narrator also touches on how perception is limited, making the idea more convincing. Your senses only capture a tiny fraction of what is really happening. Infrared, ultraviolet, and other signals exist beyond what the human eye can see. Yet the brain fills in the gaps, constructing a coherent reality from partial information. In a sense, we are living in a version of the world that our minds create. The audience begins to sense the mystery. Reality may be far larger and stranger than they ever imagined. To deepen engagement, the narrator introduces a short, relatable story. Imagine a person walking through a forest. They see trees, leaves, and sunlight, but their brain is interpreting colors, shapes, and light patterns, creating a perfect picture of the forest that exists only in their mind. Without their brain, the forest would not exist as they experience it. This simple story makes the abstract idea concrete, helping viewers feel connected to the concept personally. The section ends by hinting at what comes next. Building curiosity for part 3, scientists are discovering evidence that suggests the universe itself may behave in ways similar to a hologram, and our brains might be the key to understanding it. The narrator leans in, voice soft and inviting. In the next part, we'll explore the strange experiments and discoveries that hint our world is not as solid as it seems. The audience is left eager to continue, ready to see the science behind the mystery. For the video transitions from ideas to evidence, the narrator begins with a gentle but curious tone. Now that we have imagined the brain as a hologram, let's look at what science has discovered that makes this idea even more fascinating. Viewers are reminded that science sometimes reveals the world as stranger than our everyday experiences. The first example is quantum physics. Explained simply, at the tiniest level, particles behave in ways that defy common sense. The narrator describes experiments where particles seem to know when they are being observed. Even when separated by vast distances, a particle here can instantly affect a particle over there, as if they are connected by invisible threads. This strange behavior hints that reality is not fixed, but may depend on observation, a concept that resonates with the holographic brain idea. Next, the narrator introduces the holographic principle. In physics, some scientists believe the universe itself could be like a hologram. They explain that all the information in a three-dimensional space might be encoded on a two-dimensional surface, like a cosmic projection. It's as if the universe is a giant, cosmic movie, and we are living inside the projection. The audience is encouraged to feel wonder and amazement at the sheer possibility. The narrator connects these ideas to the brain. If the universe can behave like a hologram, then perhaps the brain is decoding that information, creating the reality we experience. Everyday life becomes part of the mystery. The sunlight streaming through a window, the sound of birds, the feeling of wind, each sensation could be the brain translating signals from a deeper, unseen reality to make the science relatable. The narrator gives a vivid example. Think of a 3D movie in a theater. Light and patterns on a flat screen appear as objects with depth and motion. The audience experiences a world that isn't physically there, yet it feels real. The narrator suggests that the brain might be doing something very similar, interpreting signals from the universe to create the holographic world of everyday life. The narrator also touches on brain studies. Scientists have observed that the brain stores and processes information in patterns that resemble holograms. Memories, sensations, and even thoughts are encoded in distributed networks, not in single locations. Every part of the brain, it holds a bit of the whole picture, just like a hologram. This adds another layer of mystery and fascination, making viewers feel closer to the science without overwhelming them with technical details. The video shifts from the brain to the mind. The narrator begins softly. Now that we have seen how the brain may act like a hologram, let's explore the most mysterious part: consciousness, the mind that experiences it all. Viewers are reminded that the brain creates a version of reality, but consciousness gives it meaning and life. The narrator explains that perception is not just passive. We often think our senses simply record the world around us, like a camera, but in reality, the brain and mind actively interpret, filter, and sometimes even create what we see and feel. Your mind decides what is important, what is real, and even what exists. This simple idea is powerful, making the audience reconsider how much of reality is actually a product of their own awareness. To illustrate, the narrator gives a vivid example. Imagine two people looking at the same sunset. One notices the colors and feels awe, while the other barely notices it, thinking about their next task. The scene is the same, but the experience is entirely different, shaped by the mind. This makes viewers connect personally, reflecting on their own experiences. The narrator then introduces the concept that consciousness might influence reality itself. Some experiments in quantum physics suggest that the act of observing can change the outcome. A particle behaves differently when it is watched, hinting that perception may play an active role in the universe. Could it be that our awareness is not just witnessing reality, but helping to shape it? This idea is mysterious, almost magical, yet explained in simple terms to keep viewers engaged. To deepen the intrigue, the narrator invites viewers to think about dreams, imagination, and memory. In dreams, the mind creates entire worlds that feel real while we sleep. They point out that memories and imagination can feel just as vivid as actual events. If the mind can create entire realities internally, then why couldn't it help interpret or even shape the world around us? The audience begins to feel a personal connection to the mystery, sensing that they are part of the experiment themselves. The narrator also touches on the limits of human perception. We see only a small slice of the universe. Colors, sounds, and sensations are filtered by the brain, and most signals go unnoticed. In a way, our consciousness is a spotlight, illuminating just a tiny corner of reality. This makes the audience feel both humbled and amazed, aware that there is far more to the world than meets the eye. The video now shifts from science to philosophy. The narrator begins with a calm, reflective tone. If your brain is a hologram and your mind shapes reality, then the questions we usually take for granted suddenly become very strange. Viewers are invited to think about life, existence, and the choices they make. The narrator introduces free will in a simple way. We like to believe we're making choices freely, but if the brain and consciousness are projecting reality, then some of what we experience may be influenced by unseen patterns or deeper laws of the universe. Are we truly deciding, or is our mind navigating a world that is partly created? For us, this idea is both mysterious and thought-provoking, encouraging viewers to reflect on their own lives. Next, the narrator explores the nature of reality, connecting it to classical philosophical ideas. Plato once imagined a world where people see only shadows of the truth. Just like prisoners in a cave, we may perceive only a small projection of a larger reality. If what we see is only a holographic image, then the world around us may be more like a story than a fixed structure. This simple analogy makes the abstract idea feel real and personal. The narrator then brings in the concept of interconnectedness. If reality is a hologram, then every part contains information about the whole. Every person, object, and event is linked in ways we cannot always perceive. Your thoughts, your actions, even your awareness, may ripple through the web of reality in ways you cannot see. Viewers begin to feel the awe and mystery of being part of a vast, intelligent universe. To keep it relatable, the narrator uses a vivid example. Imagine touching one note in a symphony. The sound resonates through the entire composition, creating harmony and depth. In the same way, your mind and consciousness may be influencing the symphony of reality. This makes the philosophical concept feel tangible, inviting viewers to reflect on their own role in the world. The narrator also raises questions about truth and meaning. If reality is partly projected by the brain and mind, then what does it mean for truth? Facts, experiences, and beliefs may all be shaped by perception, yet there is still beauty, purpose, and wonder. Perhaps understanding the holographic nature of reality doesn't diminish life, it deepens it. This keeps viewers inspired rather than overwhelmed. Finally, the narrator sets the stage for the conclusion. These ideas are not just science or philosophy, they are an invitation to explore your own mind, to question what you see, and to wonder at the possibilities. Viewers are prepared for the final part, where all the brain, consciousness, perception, and philosophy come together in a reflective and mind-expanding conclusion. In the last part, we will tie it all together and reveal what it might mean for you, your life, and the world around you. The section ends with a lingering question. If the universe is a hologram, and your mind participates in creating it, then what kind of reality will you choose to see? Soft music fades in as the screen shows cosmic visuals, leaving the audience curious, amazed, and ready for the final revelation. The video now moves to its final, reflective section. The narrator begins softly. We have journeyed from the idea that your brain might be a hologram to the mind that perceives it, and the strange science that hints reality is not fixed. Viewers are reminded of the wonder and mystery they've explored so far. The narrator ties the pieces together. If the brain creates a holographic version of the world, and consciousness shapes what we perceive, then reality is not something outside of USIT, it's something we participate in. The ordinary world suddenly feels alive and mysterious, like a puzzle we are both observing and influencing. To make it personal, the narrator gives a simple story. Imagine standing in a quiet forest. The sunlight filters through the leaves, the wind brushes your skin, and the sound of birds fills the air. Your brain constructs this scene, your mind interprets it, and yet it feels completely real. The audience is encouraged to feel the connection between their perception and the world, realizing that they are not passive observers, but active participants. The narrator reflects on the implications. Understanding the holographic brain changes how we see everything, our choices, our relationships, even the meaning of life. If perception shapes reality, then awareness becomes a powerful tool. Every thought, every intention, every act may ripple through the fabric of existence. This idea leaves viewers both humbled and inspired, feeling a sense of responsibility and wonder. The narrator then invites contemplation. What if you could see the world not just as it appears, but as it truly is, a living hologram shaped by your mind? Questions arise naturally. How would you act differently? What would you notice? How would you live? The audience is encouraged to pause, reflect, and imagine the possibilities, deepening their engagement with the idea. Finally, the narrator closes with a strong, memorable statement. If your brain is a hologram, and your mind participates in creating reality, then the universe is not separate from you, it is inside you. Waiting to be explored, viewers are left with a sense of awe and curiosity, a feeling that the journey is both personal and infinite. The video ends with a gentle call to reflect. Take a moment to notice the world around you, and the world inside you. The narrator suggests that this exploration is just beginning. Every experience, every thought, every choice is a step into the deeper mystery of reality. Soft cosmic visuals and music fade out, leaving the audience amazed, thoughtful, and ready to explore further.